Vivian, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm Lizzie. I'm with Central Alabama Voice. We're here with Vivian Autry, and we are going to talk about a lot of stuff. I'm excited for you to be here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So as a lot of the listeners know, I'm really passionate about people who, I keep calling them transplants, and I keep saying I need a better word because that seems like a medical term, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
But so from outsiders, right? People who were not from here, who've come here, who've made their home here, started families, started businesses, and you are like me and you're not technically from here. So tell me about yourself, your background, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. So my grandparents are from here, and my grandparents had one of the first houses on the lake next to Edith Russell. So one of the Russell cabins, yeah. So grew up coming here. And then my parents had a house on the lake too. We lived in Birmingham, but came here. And then my husband and I we got married and moved to Georgia, to Noonan, Georgia, and raised our children there. And gosh, I guess about 16 years ago now, we built a house in Stillwaters on the lake as our second home. And then 2012, we were like, both of our girls are married, we're out of here. So we sold our house in Atlanta and moved in permanently here. So we're kind of semi-transplants, if you will. So
yeah.
Absolutely love the lake. I heard a million times people telling me, you're not going to like being at the lake in the wintertime, but we absolutely love it. My husband is an avid fisherman. He absolutely loves the winter months.
Oh, yeah.
We're big Auburn fans, so we love to go, be a part of the tailgate. Hopefully not, it won't happen this year, but hopefully it'll start back again. So we love being here year round. There's something to do year round, and we love it. The cool thing is that our daughters have now both moved here. So the last one, the youngest one just moved from Noonan, Georgia, about 6 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And bought a house in Camp Hill. So they had a farm out there and they're loving it. So so both children, all grandbabies, all here.
That's awesome. But obviously, I mean, even though you had some experience here, you obviously liked it enough to buy a second home or build a second home here and then come back permanently. I mean, what about Central Alabama, Lake Martin attracted you to coming back and staying?
Absolutely. So I am a lot of my friends are beach people. I'm not a beach person at all. And,
you don't like the sand?
I could go to the beach for a couple days. I love Orange Beach, don't get me wrong. But 2 days, 3 days, I'm done. I can be on the lake every single day, all day long, every day. So love that. And so just growing up on the lake, and my parents had a house in Columbus, Georgia, on a small lake in Columbus. And it just... not the same. Once you come on Lake Martin, there's nothing, no different. So we're big avid wakeboarders and wake surfers, and as I mentioned, my husband's a big fisherman. It just kind of made sense for us too. And to be honest, we had lots of friends that were from Georgia that had built houses on Lake Martin, and we were renting houses and coming for the weekends and stuff. And we decided right then, we have young children. We don't want them to start going to other people's homes and not, so it's kind of kind of selfish in a way, not to, not to let them. We wanted their friends to come hang out with us, so that's really why we did that.
So, what are your favorite spots on the lake?
Oh, I love Goat Island like everybody else.
Yeah,
I guess.
That's so fun.
I really, really love going in the springtime before it gets too crazy busy, and they've had new babies. I love holding them. My grandchildren absolutely adore going to Goat Island, so that's something we do. We have certain spots. We have little islands that we kind of congregate to and hang out to.
Tell us your secret fishing spots. Or?
I don't know any secret fishing spots. We do. We actually are part of the Treasured Island. So one of my husband's companies adopted the Treasured Island, and it's right there in Blue Creek, but it's not really beachable. We'd love to be able to hang out at our own island, but we do go quite often and clean it like we're supposed to. We want John Thompson to always love us.
Oh yeah.
So we're out there cleaning, and we even have bags on our boat, and we go to the islands that we do kind of hang out. We see trash, we go ahead and pick those up too.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, we trying to instill in my grandchildren that we better take care of this this beautiful lake, and you know, it's kind of a game now. They'll see trash out in the lake, they'll be like, stop the boat, you know, we got to get it.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned John Thompson. Every time I even like think about littering, I'm like, ooh, John Thompson would be mad at me. I can't do this.
He really will.
I can't do it. So that's funny.
He really will. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Well, that's awesome. So obviously you have become very integrated in this community since you've been here. You have a ton of businesses. You mentioned being a part of the Treasured Island program.
Yep, that's what it's called. Treasured Island. No, what is it? Treasured Mile.
With the Lake Martin Resource Association. So very involved in the community. So tell me a little bit about your businesses and kind of why you wanted to start getting so involved in our community.
Absolutely. So when we moved here permanently, my husband moved his business here as well, and we actually changed the name. So it's Lake Martin Cabinetry. So he does custom cabinets and does some on the lake, doing the landing in Stillwaters right now, and the hideaway in Stillwaters, but lot in Auburn as well at National Village. And then, but that was kind of normal. He had a custom cabinet shop in Noonan. It kind of worked. And then, just really in the last 2 years, our other businesses just kind of happened. So my next door neighbor called me and said, "Hey, the Mitchell house is for sale. You should buy it." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know about that. I don't have time.
Why not?
I have a full-time job at Wells Fargo and used to travel all the time." And I was like, I just don't know if I'm going to do that or not. Anyway, long story short, we ended up going and looking at it, and we bought the Mitchell house, which is an antebellum home that is an event venue. And we're excited about all the things happening there. With it, we added a big tent, and the business is starting to grow. COVID really hurt us.
Yeah.
It really, really hurt us. But, you know, we gave people their money back, and it wasn't their fault that they couldn't have their weddings and stuff. So we feel like doing the right thing has paid off, and we're starting to really book up. So very excited about that. And then that was 18 months ago. We did that.
Okay.
And then about 16 months ago, a good friend of my husband's had a company called OGS Tournaments, which is a bass fishing company, tournament company, and he passed away unexpectedly. And so all the anglers around this area really were just like, "Oh my gosh, it's the only small tournament company that you don't have to pay, $1,200 and $1,500 to be a part of."
Right.
And so my husband asked me, my husband's name is Mike, he said, let's just go look at it. Let's just go talk to him and see. And I was thinking to myself, I really don't want to own a bass fishing company. But started talking to him.
Here you are.
Yep, here we are. So started talking about it and looked at the numbers and thought, okay, it's not anything you're going to make a killing at, but boy, can it help us get involved in the community. And really the whole idea was to give back to the community. So here we are with that. It's going really well. We just Russell Marine just became our platinum sponsor for this year, so we're super excited.
That's awesome.
Going to be doing 2 tournaments for them this year, so super excited on the growth that's happening there too. And then, do you remember the really bad storm that took everything out? Well, not the bad one that took everything out in Alex City. It was kind of it was in April, and they hyped it up and said that Alabama was going to get wiped off the map, and nothing really happened.
Right.
Well, we did lose electricity for about 6 hours, and as we were sitting there without any electricity, my husband said, I got an idea for you. Let's talk about this tag fishing thing. So this was in I said April. It was in February.
Right.
In February, and anyway, so he started telling me about this thing that he had seen at another lake in Texas, and it's a tagged fishing event. Which then 4 hours later, we came up with a logo and a name. We had bought a website, all that kind of stuff, literally within 4 hours after the electricity came back on, and Crank for Bank was born. So it's owned by OGS, but it really is a separate venue.
Gotcha. And so tell me a little bit, I know a little bit about Frankfurt Bank, but just kind of, how did it go this summer?
Yeah.
What was it like, especially with COVID? I mean, we all kind of needed something to do.
Yeah.
Fishing was one of the only things we could do.
Yes.
So how did it go?
Yep. So it went really, really well.
Good.
So a lot more fish caught than we expected, but that's okay. And we were perfectly happy with that.
Good.
So we had 14 fish caught.
Wow.
One person caught 2, and I told him he needed to drive to Georgia and buy a lottery ticket that day.
Seriously?
Yeah, Hunter Billingsley is his name, and he's got to be one of the luckiest people I've ever met. So, but anyway, that we tagged 102 fish, and we talked to the Department of Human Resources. No, what is it?
The Department of Conservation.
Conservation,
Natural Resources. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you so much. So we talked to them, and they were telling us how much the sales for fishing license were up, especially on Lake Martin. And they basically said, we want to thank you for that. We partnered with Wind Creek, which is a part of that, and they were just very grateful for how many extra, because you don't have to have a boat, you don't have to, but
Right.
you do have to have a fishing license. And we sold probably as many tickets or registrations to adults, maybe a little more to adults than we did kids, but we sure did have a lot of kids that registered.
How many kids did you get? Or
people
did you register?
I can't remember the exact number, but I think we were up in like the 600s.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, so we were good. And then we had 14 people catch fish. So that's pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
Knowing how many fish are in the lake and all that. So it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
This year, we have some really exciting news that we just announced yesterday. That we worked it out with our insurance company and all, so there's going to be $1 million fish in the water. So
Well, I'm going to go buy a ticket for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have 200 fish going to be tagged this year.
Okay.
It's going to be from April to July the 4th again. 200 fish, and then there'll be a truck and a bass boat. And then $1 million. And my husband's calling her Millie in the water. I'm like, okay, Millie.
That's cute.
Yeah. So Millie's swimming around out there somewhere. So we will
So
start.
are they already out there?
They're not.
Oh,
not
okay.
really. Not really. But what we do is we actually went to the conservation people to ask the Alabama fisheries people, and asked them. So we actually have our license where we could actually put fish in the water.
Okay.
But we're not doing that. It was like, why would we pay for fish when we have
already
tournaments?
are fish, yeah.
So in February there'll be a tournament for OGS, and then there'll be a tournament in March. And so we'll do 100 fish in February and 100 fish in March, and then they'll be tagged. And so they'll be out there swimming around. This year we tagged them in March and started it in April. We had one person catch a fish prior to the start, and he just threw it back in. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just said, but I have to say, don't be that person. We had several people
Catch a fish and not have a ticket?
Yep, not have a ticket.
That would be my luck.
Yeah.
That would totally be my luck.
So we had several people that did that, and just literally like Another cool story with that though is we had a mother and a son catch a fish 2 days apart, not in the same boat, but isn't that funny that they?
That's so crazy.
So I think the son caught his fish, and the mother was like, "I'm going to catch one too," and she went and fished.
She sure enough did.
Yeah. But we do put them all over the entire lake, from Parker Creek all the way to Wind Creek. So they're distributed evenly across the whole lake.
It's not like they're in one spot.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. So working backwards on your businesses that you told us about. So tell me a little bit more about OGS tournaments. How many are there? Where are they? What does it look like exactly?
So right now we're only on Lake Martin at Wind Creek.
Okay.
But we're looking to kind of grow it into more of the central Alabama area. Somebody said jokingly we should call it the Coosa Trail, because we might do like Lay Lake or something like that.
Okay.
So we are going to grow it in 2021, but just wanting to get over COVID this year.
Yeah, of course.
So right now, I think, I don't have the list with me, but I believe we have like 14 tournaments on the schedule already.
Oh, wow.
One is coming up is September 12th, and that's the Bo McCrary tournament.
Oh, right,
it's a benefit. Mm-hmm. And then we have Jim Landers tournament, which Chris Landers down from at 5 Star, our good friend there. And then our tournament. So we have 6 that are quote ours, and then we put on some. We have 2 for wrestle now.
Gotcha.
So we got a good bit of tournaments coming up, and it's on our website, ogstournaments.org.
Cool.
And so there's usually anywhere from 50 to 75 boats. Some tournaments will be bigger, like the Russell Marine one. We're expecting 150.
More, yeah.
150 to 200 boats for that one. So just good turnouts. We're happy with that. We run it like it's a big tournament. I know a lot of people don't know what Bassmasters is or FLW, but we run it as if you are on the big stage. That you're,
right.
We have the microphones and the
whole bells and whistles, yeah,
all the equipment and everything. And we did a youth tournament this year too. And even though it was very small, we didn't have very many participants.
Oh, that's cool.
Those kids felt like they were on the big stage. So
yeah.
love it. The average purse is about $6,500 per tournament, and we have a lot of local anglers, but we also have people that are coming from Tennessee and Georgia, Florida. So it's a good turnout, and we're very, very, very happy with how it's growing and
right.
and getting the word out. So.
And it's cost effective, right? So if you're like me and you're not one of these big time Bassmaster fishers, you might go out and it's a couple $100 to enter kind of thing.
Right. It's $130, $120, but if you want to do what we call average Joe, it's $130.
Gotcha.
So so it's much more reasonable price than some of the real big
right.
ones, right? But we got a lot of sponsors and trying to grow that and getting their name out, and a lot of times they give prizes, or we can up the ante on the money too. So it's going well. It's going real well.
That's awesome. Okay, so the Mitchell House.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about its events. I know a lot of people probably know you can do weddings there. What are some of the other events? What are the good things about it?
Yeah. So it is. Primarily it's used for weddings, but I will tell you that we have had some of the best parties. We had a party last year that was for, a lady put it on for her mother for her 60th birthday. And when I say she went all out, she went all out. But it was probably the best, most fun party I've ever seen, for a birthday party. I wasn't expecting that. So we've had birthday parties, we've had corporate events there, we've had a tailgate party before where somebody just rented it out on their way into Auburn.
Right.
We've had lots of baby showers and showers. Wedding showers and stuff, but
right.
It really can be used for anything. We've actually been contacted about having a reenactment, a Civil War reenactment there.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, that's fine.
Right. Never done it, but we'll figure it out.
Well, that's kind of what I said. I said, is there something I should do? I mean, is there something we have to be? And they were like, no, just tables and chairs. And I was like, oh, I got that.
We can do that.
Yeah, so interesting, that kind of thing. Really, if you think about an event, and it can be done there. We have a 1,600 square foot tent that has a permanent floor.
Oh, wow.
With lights and stuff, and it's not attached to the house, but it has a covered walkway to the house. And so it really works out well. A lot of people like to have the food in the house and then have the big tent outside, and people have DJs. We've had bands there inside the tent, so it really just works itself out to where you can have any kind of event you want.
That's awesome. So paint us a picture of the house, if you will. What is it? I mean, you've mentioned kind of its history a little bit, but kind of go into more. You said before the show it's the oldest house in Tallapoosa County. That's very cool. So what does it look like? If we haven't seen it, what does it look like?
It is an old antebellum home with the Greek columns, 4 Greek columns on the front. So picture an old plantation home. It does sit on 11 acres. 2 acres of it is manicured. It's got lots of pecan trees, so we have like a little pecan orchard there. It's got the ginkgo tree, which is the famous ginkgo tree. It's the oldest ginkgo tree, from my understanding, in the Southeast and maybe even in the United States. It's 100 years old. It's from Japan. Mr. Mitchell's son came back from World War I and brought it back, and so we know that as a seedling, and it grew. And so if you haven't been by, you need to come by at least in November and see it.
Yeah.
It is absolutely stunning, and it turns gold, and it is beautiful. So that it's a 100-year-old ginkgo tree that is just breathtaking to see. So then we have the big white tent and with the drapes and all that. So it's really pretty.
The inside of the house.
Yeah, the inside of the house we have it's the all original floors, and you can definitely tell that. But I mean, it's beautiful. There's only been 5 owners, so it doesn't have an old smell to it or anything, which is kind of cool.
Right.
You think of old houses as 1835, you think, but it's really in pretty darn good shape for being that old.
Right.
It's got a parlor, it's got a dining room, and it's got 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. One of the cool things about the clawfoot tub in the main bathroom is, I just learned this recently, the Tallapoosa County historian lives across the street from the Mitchell house, and so I get tidbits all the time.
Little facts.
Yeah, little facts. So it has sterling silver. The claw feet, the feet are sterling silver, and that was just a sign of extreme wealth.
Wealth, yeah.
So just a tiny little bit about Mr. Mitchell and why it's on the historic register is S.Z. Mitchell was born there, and his daddy was a doctor. There was a hospital very near there. It's one of the first hospitals in Alabama. It was very near, right on the corner, not far from the house. It's a church now, but it used to be a hospital. But anyway, he was born there, and so his claim to fame was he was the founder of Alabama Power.
Oh, okay.
And then he went from there up to New York, and he founded, I guess, New York Power. I'm not sure what the name of that was exactly, but up to New York.
The equivalent of,
Yeah. So then prior to the Great Depression, he was known as the richest man in the world prior to the Great Depression. So that's kind of, I like to say that about Alabama. We had the richest man in the world prior to the Great Depression.
I never would have thought it.
Never
in
either.
Alabama, especially Dadeville, Alabama.
Especially Dadeville, Alabama. And then the story is that he helped invent hydroelectric power. And hence why Lake Martin sits where it sits today.
Right.
So very exciting. It kind of ties my love for Lake Martin to the house. One other cool little thing that I just learned recently is that his mother died at a young age from scarlet fever or something, some kind of fever. And because the dad was a doctor and had lots of people he was treating that were sick, he sent his 2 children to live with the grandmother, who was Miss Jordan, where 5 Star is.
Oh, okay.
5 Star Plantation. So so S.E. Mitchell actually grew up most of his life on 5 Star. The old story is that he would call in from New York and have somebody go outside and hold the phone and get the dogs riled up so he could hear the howling of his hounds.
Aww.
Isn't that sweet?
That's someone after my heart. I'm a dog lover.
Me too. I'm a dog lover too.
So what's your favorite part of the house? I mean, the tree.
Probably, actually, my favorite part of the house is the living room. I was able to bring in my grandmother's baby grand piano. So we have a black lacquer baby grand piano in the house, and I don't know, it's just very pretty, and with the hardwood floors, it's just gorgeous.
That's awesome.
So definitely my favorite.
That's very cool. And so you kind of mentioned that COVID was a little tough on you guys, as it was on a lot of people.
Absolutely.
How have you kind of overcome? I will say one of the great things about COVID, if there is a great thing, just go with me here. You're looking at me like, great thing. It's shown everybody how to be creative, right? Like how to get creative and find new ways to make money or to help someone or to,
absolutely.
So I think, so how have you guys kind of overcome?
Absolutely.
Not just at the Mitchell house, but with all of your businesses.
Yeah, so luckily Lake Martin Cabinetry hadn't been affected. The housing market's been phenomenal on Lake Martin. So we're grateful there. I haven't had to travel, and normally I travel all the time for work, and so that's been being able to have me at home and kind of focus a little bit more on I have time in the afternoons versus being on the road.
Right.
But the Mitchell house, I feel, I had at first when things started, people were canceling and all that, and you start looking at your policies and you think, what do I do, that kind of thing, and I thought to myself, what would I do if it was my daughter's wedding? Would I, you can't help this. If it's one thing if they're canceling because they just don't like the date or whatever,
right? But
it's a whole different thing if they're canceling because of
this.
Yeah. So we decided to give them their money back, and so that has really, just having that integrity and doing the right thing. I feel like has really gotten around. People have talked about it because I've heard there's some companies that haven't necessarily done the right thing, and so that's really, really helped us get the word out. We're, you know, the wedding that was 2 weeks ago, she had a terrible situation. She had a destination wedding planned. They didn't give her her money back. They had to go to court. They got some of their money back, and then, you know, but what the sweetest thing in the whole world was her grandmother had come to the wedding expo, and back in February, and had gone and told her about the Mitchell house, and she already had her plans for her destination wedding. And she was like, but the grandmother said, I just, somehow or another, I just want her to get married there. And so when the grandmother found out that she had, she didn't even know that she had come and booked that. And when she did, she just cried. So, so sweet. So, you know, just trying to make sure we're doing the right thing, advertising on Facebook and just trying to get the word out. You know, really. For OGS, it really wasn't hurt that much because people were really, really trying to get out and do something. They didn't have jobs and, you know, could go fishing or whatever.
Right.
You know, we had a couple of times where we, several of our tournaments, we had to say only one angler come in and weigh in their fish. We kept them 6 feet apart. We didn't register with inside Wind Creek Marina. We brought it outside, you know, even though it was raining or it was cold or it was dark or whatever. We just kind of, you know, one time I was out there registering everybody with my car lights on the, you know, flashing on the table so that I could make sure that I could see. But yeah, you know, you just kind of adapt, and like you said, you do what you got to do, and you figure out what's gonna work for people. So you know, we're, you know, lots of hand sanitizer around the Mitchell house, and you know, usually I don't really provide something like that, but man, I got lots of bottles of that around. Like, hey, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands.
Yeah.
So just, you know, whatever you can do to make people feel comfortable that they can come in and feel comfortable and safe and secure, but also still have life.
Yeah, I think that's another great thing about you know, Central Alabama and these small towns, especially that a lot of people have really tried to do, like you said, do the right thing. I mean, you might not have found that where you were in Atlanta. You might not have gotten and I'm not saying everybody in Atlanta is bad or anything like that, but it's more likely because I'm sure you probably have clients that you know, that you've gone to school with, or you, you know, see in the grocery store, you know what I mean? And so we all just kind of know each other, so we're more likely to be nice to each other, I guess.
Yes, and I just, you know, to me, I just wanted to make sure I did the right thing.
Yeah.
The one that we gave the money back that really got my heart was, it was a situation where they were from Fort Benning, Georgia, and he was about to be deployed. So they had to get married, and they couldn't wait until the springtime to get married. They went ahead and got married. So, you know, and I was like, Lord, you're going to protect our country?
Right.
I'll give you your money back.
What do you expect me to do?
Yeah, so gave them their money back, and then, you know, they said, if we do end up having a reception when he comes back, we'll absolutely do it here.
Yeah.
But they needed their money to go. So, you know, little things like that, I think, and the word gets around, hey, they're doing the right thing.
And I think you see that just a lot more in small towns and local businesses. I mean, people want to be good to their clients, you know, and they're just typically,
I always say people don't move to the north when they retire. They all move to the south.
Move to the south. Well, heck, I moved before I retired.
Absolutely. See? And
so there you go.
There's something about being in a small town, I have to say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like, and you mentioned, you know, the storms that we went through, both in the one in Dadeville and the one in Alex City. It was like everybody just kind of helped each other, and the one at, you know, in Alex City was right after COVID hit, and I was like, okay, well, what do we do? I mean, we've got to.
It was devastating.
Go help the people that are hurting, you know. So, yeah, it's a good place to live.
It absolutely is a good place to live, and so excited to have my children and my grandchildren here and raising them in, you know, a small town environment where everybody, you know, helps everybody.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about Dadeville, right? I've been doing a series of pieces about just the revitalization of Dadeville. I've been so impressed. Even in I've been here for 3.5 years in
total change.
I mean, it was like, wow, we're not going to go to Dadeville tonight. And now it's like, okay, let's go to Dadeville tonight, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I live in Alex City. why do you think that is? I mean, it's just like new businesses are popping up. People are starting, a new restaurant, a new coffee shop coming in.
Yeah.
A lot of good people doing a lot of good things up there. Why do you think that is?
I really just feel like that Dadeville is, sitting on a gold mine, if you will. I mean, Lake Martin is so close, and obviously, Lake Martin and Alex City kind of share that side of the lake, if you will. But it's like people are starting to realize it. I personally know of several people that have just said, I'm tired of Atlanta. I'm tired of, and nothing's wrong with Atlanta, but the traffic. I mean, for me, I sat, for
Everybody
17 years. Yeah, 17 years I sat in traffic for over an hour every day in and every day home.
Yep.
And to then turn around and get on an airplane or whatever. So
Right.
I'm like, I don't need that anymore. So basically I feel like most people are just like, okay, I want to get away from the crazy of a big city. And they've come and they find the lake and they find Dadeville as a whole. I feel like the city's done a great job with the new roundabout. I know
it looks so good.
It does. It makes a huge difference, I think.
And safety wise, like every time I go through there, I don't feel like I'm gonna get run over by a tractor trailer. Like it just works.
It
It's
works
great.
now. Yes, I know it took some time for people to get used to it
Yeah.
now, but
For sure.
And with that, it's brought some people. Like my next door neighbor is going to open a restaurant down there. They opened the Nolabama Shack down the street from there, and so I think that people are wanting to come to Dadeville because of the quaintness of the city, but also, new things are popping up and that makes people come too.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about Dadeville is even more so than Alex City. I mean, even in Alex City, it's tough to compete with Auburn and Opelika.
It is.
Being so close. But Dadeville, I mean, it's like
Really close.
really close, right? So I think Dadeville has to make sure it's making those strides to say, let's have our people stay here rather than go. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
20 minutes down the road and you're in Tiger Town,
Absolutely.
and you've got everything at the tips of your fingers.
I will say that when we moved here permanently in 2012, that we probably, if we ate out, we were in Auburn
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 and
Right.
only eaten here a few times. But, Niffers redid their menu and kind of stepped it up. Oscars is great.
Yeah.
And then Copper's being right there in our backyard, literally.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we got our golf cart to eat. That's helped.
Yeah.
And then, like Fusion Grill.
Fusion Grill
and just, I could go
What was
on.
that other one? Route 49?
No, Route 49,
No.
I think, is a hair place.
You know what I'm talking about. Oh, that restaurant on 50 and right at the other entrance of Stillwater's.
Oh, Oscars, Niffers.
On the side of the one I can't get into because I don't have a little swipey thingy.
Coppers.
That's
Inside Stillwater's. Yeah, okay, you don't have a swipey thing. I don't know.
I don't know. By the Dollar General?
Oh, table 34.
Table 34. See, I knew it had numbers in it. Yeah, we were going to
Table
get there.
34, Don. Yes.
It's great food.
Oh,
Great food.
Delicious. Yes, absolutely. So now I would say that we don't go to Auburn, and we stay. There's so many choices on our side of the lake,
Right.
And every once in a while we'll still go to Catherine's or whatever on the other side of the lake, or Kalijah, but for the most part, we've got lots of choices and good food, and I think just more and more that's going to continue to grow. And I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard that which I'm hoping, is there going to be a new hotel in Dadeville, and that's big for us from being in the wedding business.
Yeah.
You really want that. So,
you need that.
Yeah, and then there's the new glamping thing coming in 2021. So, I think Dadeville's going to be a lot different in 5 years, but
Yeah.
I love being on the ground floor of it, watching it grow.
Yeah, and Rick and Mitzi Hitting told me that a new coffee shop is opening next to Zazoo's.
Correct.
And I think every small town needs a coffee shop.
Absolutely.
I mean, you just kind of sit there and you people watch and you get a place to hang out, and I think that'll even more so take it off to what it's.
Absolutely. And you got Lake Martin Pizza Company that's doing really, really well, and that's closer to Stillwater's, but we still call that Dadeville.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's Dadeville.
Yeah.
And I think also the events, not just the food and the restaurants, which obviously make a huge difference, but the, the farmers market and the Fridays on the Green or Well, yeah, Friday's on the Green, but that's on the other side of the lake. The music on the square.
Yes, I heard that was so successful. I wasn't able to go last weekend, but I heard it was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I think they've just been doing more and more, so it's great.
Everything's coming. Things to do in Dadeville, or the list is growing for sure. So we're super excited. Love being a part of Dadeville. Love being in the town. My daughter has a photography business, and it's just growing. That it's amazing how you hear people. Facebook is a great avenue, but you'll hear, I had my pictures taken at the Mitchell house, and then it just kind of goes from there and stuff like that. So I think, people are, more and more families are moving to Dadeville, and it's a great place to live.
And a lot of these new business owners too are, again, like us, not from here, but they've come and they've built their roots, and they're really trying to make a difference in these small towns in Central Alabama.
Yes, my next door neighbor who owns Nolabama, they are from Louisiana, obviously the New Orleans side of the things. But how they got here was they saw the very first HGTV lake show. Lake Martin, and they said, golly, that looks really pretty. So they came and checked it out, and
here they are.
There they are, 5 years later, and they're opening up a business, and his food is unbelievably.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet, but I'm very excited. I'm going to meet with them soon.
You need to go.
So the other thing is, you had mentioned early on about being a little bit hesitant about buying the OGS or starting to own that. And you mentioned then when the power went out, you guys started Crank the Bank, and it just kind of, what I've noticed is a lot of people in Dadeville seem to just, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to commit to it, and we're going to see what happens. Yep. Where do you think that kind of spirit comes from?
I think just, we're very entrepreneurial people. We used to own a cheerleading gym in the past and stuff like that, but I really think that this sounds corny, but Dadeville's kind of a blank slate, and people like to be a part of. You said
get on the ground floor.
Get on the ground floor and be a part. And as people start to see some growth, they're like, oh my gosh, let's do a park, or let's do a Zazzles, or let's do a coffee store, or whatever. Yeah. I just think that, to me, I think that people are willing to take that risk on a small town. One, the investment's not near as big as it would be like in Atlanta. But two, they feel like the town's going to support them, and that's a true statement. I have to say that we are very we're very blessed at how much people locally as well as from out of town are supporting our businesses, and we're very appreciative of the fact that the local people, hey, you need to go check out the Mitchell House, or hey, you need to go fish the OGS tournaments, or whatever. Local people telling local people is the way it works.
Yeah, I think it's like that old sports cliche, right? Like success breeds success. So when someone sees the Mitchell House, you buy that 18 months ago, and from there it's all just kind of gotten bigger, and everything's gotten better, and people want to be a part of that. Yeah,
and OGS, I think he had 6 tournaments the last 4 years prior to us owning it, and we went from there to 16 and growing. So different ideas, different, just I think again, local people supporting local people.
Yeah, it's a great place to live. It really is. It's so funny, when I moved here, everybody thought, you're going to go to, and I was in Pennsylvania, but they thought, Alabama, why are you going to go to Alabama? And now I'm like, I'm staying in Alabama. Y'all can have your northern selves up there. It's
and the
fine.
Cold, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I do kind of miss the snow, though.
Well, every once in a while we have some snow here.
That's true. That's true.
Probably one of my favorite things when we first moved down here permanently, I think it was in 2012, maybe 2013, I can't remember, but it snowed pretty good, and my husband and I and some of our friends, our neighbors, we got out on the golf course on our inner tubes, and we went flying down that thing. Yeah, so much fun. So we do have enough snow every once in a while.
Every once in a while. It was so funny though, when I first got here, my first year here was 2017, and it snowed.
Oh yeah,
like a little bit, But I had just gotten a dog, and she's scared of everything. So I shouldn't have been that surprised, but she was kind of scared of the snow.
Yeah, they didn't want to touch it.
And someone said to me, well, she was probably 2 or 3 when I got her, and someone said, well, that's probably the first time she's seen snow. And I'm thinking,
No.
She hasn't seen snow in 3 years. Oh God! And it hasn't snowed since then.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
really,
it like flurried.
Yeah,
once,
but nothing to stick. Nothing to stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the only downside to it here is that we do. To me, we have 4 seasons. You know, we have the sometimes the spring gets hot really quick and the fall doesn't stay fall very long. But we typically have 4 seasons, and
That's true.
That's a lot of fun to have. So, you know, to me, Alabama's a great place. I was born in Mobile, Alabama, but grew up most of my childhood in Columbus, Georgia. So
Yeah.
The South, the Alabama, you know, Georgia area are you know, absolutely great places to raise families.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and chatting with us about Dadeville and yourself. And, you know, it's great to find people that are so committed to making these towns in Central Alabama. You know, I always say, like, that's what we need, whether they be young people, old people, in between, it's people that are willing to really put their lives into, you know, helping us grow. That's how we get better.
Absolutely. I just became a board member of the United Way, and
Oh, good.
And Sharon Fuller asked me, you know, to join it, and she said, you know, do you want to? I don't want to.
Do you have time though?
And I said, yeah, I make time. But I said, you know, I believe in the United Way, and I believe in this community, and so this is a way for me to help even more. And you know, believe it or not, that's really helped me. It's bridged me some more and more contacts, and you know, again, everybody's supporting everybody.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun. So I appreciate you coming on.
Yep. Thanks.